Okay, my people, welcome to another episode of FBA All Day. I am the Lord Eric Steele, aka Big Rossi Love, a perpetual student of the survival scrolls, where if you know, you know. Today we're gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna give some praises to the ancestor, one of the great ancestors on my maternal side of the family. We're gonna get into the a little story, a little background and history on the great ancestor Zachariah Jacobs. Zachariah Jacobs. Okay, as I said, this is on my maternal side of the family. One of the very foundational members of our society here in the United States. I'm going to give you a little history on the great Zachariah Jacobs. Okay, Zachariah Jacobs, also known as Zachariah Holmes, was a freeborn man of color and a Revolutionary War patriot. He served as a private in the North Carolina militia and a Continental Line, fighting in major engagements, including the Battle of Guilford Courthouse. He was a private in the North Carolina militia and the Continental Line. Now, in the Revolutionary War, a line, that was a very specific combat regiment. You ever heard the phrase "hold the line"? They would say, "Hold the line, hold the line." They were a specific regiment assigned. They were told to be created by the Continental Congress at the time. The Continental Congress, they had the Pennsylvania line, the Maryland line. Yeah, they had a few lines. And during war, as they would move forward, they would make sure that you held the line. They want to make sure that you held the line. You stood your position. You know what I mean? You hold the line. Together, the state units and their supporting elements formed the official standing military force known as the Continental Army. Okay, at that time, they were known as the Continental Army. He was one of over 460 North Carolina men of color to serve the Patriot cause. He was born in vicinity and wounded in 1781. Again, I said 1781. Foundational. Foundational. Okay. The American Revolution was a defining moment in the history of the United States. Let me read that again. The American Revolution was a defining moment in the history of the United States. The Revolutionary War. Yet the contributions of free people of color often remain overlooked. Among these individuals was Zachariah Jacobs, also known as Holmes, whose military service illustrates both complexity and diversity of the revolutionary struggle. Most noted, he was a pivotal part. We've had leaders in this family as far back as it goes. Our men were always leading. Jacobs was born on October 4th, 1753, in New Hanover County, North Carolina, to Esther Jacobs. By the late 1770s, as the War for Independence intensified, Jacobs became directly involved in the conflict. At the end of 1778, he was drafted into the Bladen County Regiment of the North Carolina Militia as a private under Colonel John Alexander Lillington and Captain Joseph Wood. Excuse me. His regiment marched through South Carolina into Georgia, where Jacobs participated in the Battle of Briar Creek. That was March 1779. Okay. The engagement ended in defeat for the American forces. The British were taking over at that point. They were pushing away. And amid the confusion of retreat, Jacobs returned home to Brunswick County. Okay. So under the leadership of Captain Joseph Wood, they got separated. The groups got disbanded. They weren't able to hold the line that time, and it was a lot of confusion. There wasn't like telephones where you could ring up and contact each other back in those days. So there was confusion and disarray at that time. He was a young man, and they were fighting, to create a country here. They were fighting for independence. They were fighting for this country. They were literally fighting for the survival of the United States, to be their own sovereign nation. They were fighting for that. But Jacob's commitment to the cause did not end there. In early 1781, he rejoined the North Carolina militia for a 9-month term. During this enlistment, he fought in the Battle of Guilford County Courthouse in March 1781. This was one of the most significant engagements in the Southern campaign. Jacob sustained a leg wound during the battle and spent time recovering in a hospital. On his journey home, he was captured by a loyalist soldier and held for approximately 12 days before being brought to a British Major James Henry Craig in Bladen County. Craig eventually paroled Jacobs, releasing him back to civilian life. Okay. Despite the setbacks, Jacob continued his military service. In October 1781, he enlisted in North Carolina Regiment of the Continental Line for another 9-month term. By March 1782, Jacobs was serving under Major Michael Rudolph of Virginia in operations near Charleston, South Carolina. Just heavy in the slave trade back then, too, Charleston, South Carolina. During this period, his unit captured a British galley Alligator on the Ashley River. Alligator. The British galley, that is a ship. That was a warship. There's a war boat on the river. On the River Ashley, the British had, that's how they used to have, we didn't have freeways, so they used to have to take goods and services up and down the river. That's how they delivered goods and services on the river. The Mississippi River, on the rivers, this is how they transported goods and services. They take livestock, they take just all any kind of goods you can think of, from sugar to grains. This stuff was transported from location to location via the waterways. Waterways were the original freeways. Okay, that's original highways. Okay, so they would go up and down, and in order to protect their goods, the British had a warship named Alligator. Okay, the great ancestor helped to capture that ship. You can imagine those warships shooting those cannonballs. If you ever get a chance to look up a cannonball, it's a big ball of lead. A big ball of lead that they would shoot at people. It would make a mess. They could take out, just imagine a big metal bowling ball flying at you. Just imagine that, okay? Okay. Jacob spent most of the tour stationed at Ashley Hill before marching to Wilmington, North Carolina, where he was discharged in 1782. Okay, so he was heavily recognized for the capture of that alligator on the Ashley River. Okay, it was a notable achievement in the disrupting of British supply lines. Following the war, Jacobs resided in Brunswick and New Hanover counties for the remainder of his life. In 1835, he successfully applied for a federal pension. Jacobs died on April 10th, 1847, in New Hanover County. His widow, Sally Jacobs, later secured a pension in recognition of her husband's contributions. The story of Zachariah Jacobs underscores the vital role played by free people of color in the Revolutionary War. His perseverance through multiple enlistments, wounds, captivity, and eventual recognition reflects the broader struggle for liberty that defined the era. Jacob's life serves as a testament in the diverse individuals who fought for independence and whose sacrifices helped shape the foundation of the United States. And I'll reiterate, his sacrifice helped shape the foundation of the United States. Federally recognized. I didn't put that in there. Today, his descendants continue to carry forth the legacy with pride. They are found in communities such as East Arcadia, Youngstown, Sandyfield, Clarkston, Farmers Union, Whiteville, Freeman, Nassau, Bolton, Chadburn, Long Creek, Piney Woods, Seabreeze, St. James, Phoenix, Leland, Buckhead, Wilmington, and throughout Hanover and Brunswick, Columbus, Bladen, and Robeson counties, as well as many places beyond North Carolina. We expand way beyond that. But on March 26, 2026 at 9:30 a.m., the state of North Carolina proudly unveiled an official North Carolina highway historical marker honoring the Revolutionary War soldier Zachariah Jacobs Holmes in Wilmington, North Carolina. Salute to the ancestor. Salute. Well deserved. He's honored, and we give reverence and respect to the ancestors. We're going to keep fighting for this land that he fought for. Why would we give up fighting? He fought, bled, and died for this place. Why would his descendants give up? Why would I say that I'm something other than foundational black American? Why would I claim to be anything other than that? During that war, I didn't hear nothing in there about anybody else coming to help us fight. We were fighting ourselves for our place here. They were fighting for his family. He was fighting for his descendants, which I'm a proud member of. Of course I'm going to fight. Of course we're going to fight. Why would we stop? It's in our blood. This is our home. This is who we are. This is who we've always been. Foundational black Americans. We've been here. We are not immigrants. We did not immigrate here. We built this place. That's the difference. So while you may look similar in complexion, you may appear to have that same golden brown tone. However, this is our home. This right here, the United States of America, this is our home. We built this place. We are not immigrants. Okay? That is a flex beyond flex, okay? That's next level flexing right there. Documented. Government recognized. Governmental recognition right there. Okay? Look it up yourself. The great Zachariah Jacobs. Holmes. All right? Again, Lord Eric Steele, FBA all day. Super proud to bring you this information on the ancestors. Super proud. FBA all day, Lord Eric Steele. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. We love you. FBA all day out.